afternoon, kings and queens, and welcome to Business Strategies and Tips with Lady L. I am your host, Lady L, of Success Beyond Strategies LLC, building strategies that become successful actions, helping business owners and entrepreneurs identify their vision, mission, and purpose, turning them into legal realities, successful and profitable business entities. This show is brought to you by the Magnet Exchange Group, a book club, a social club of like minded individuals with a powerful magnetic attraction that develops healthy relationships, positive personal development, sharing wisdom and experiences in generational wealth development and wealth preservation. Today's segment for Monday through Thursday is called Business Empowerment Days of the Week. That's DAYZ. Sharing some golden nuggets to get you successfully through your week as well as victoriously. Now we have Fresh Start Monday. Today is Tackle It Tuesday. We have been talking about the Power Series. We talked about the power of gratitude, thankfulness, appreciation, gratefulness, determination, tenacity, consistency, flexibility, regrouping. And trust me, I had to regroup this morning. Hey, technology is what it is, and sometimes you just have to wait until it decides to come up, and then you do what you got to do. So you regroup. So for if you have not seen any of those shows that I have just mentioned, please go to my YouTube channel, Lady Vern, LadyVerne. Like, subscribe, hit that notification button, and hit the bell so that you don't miss any of these shows because they are really, really impactful. I'm getting some very positive feedback. Thank you so much for your comments. We appreciate if you put more in my Facebook page, Laverne Sproul. You can go to my Instagram, which is Success Beyond Strategies. And you can go to my YouTube channel, like, subscribe, notification button, and the bell. That's at Lady Vern. And for you, if you need some consultation regarding certain postures of where your business is sitting at this point, whether you're contemplating, whether you're brand spanking new to the business arena, whether you've been in it for a few years, been in it for over 10 or more years, everybody needs a refreshing. Everybody needs some level of encouragement. So, with that being said, you definitely want to consider going to my website, Success Beyond Strategies, that's STRATEGZ.com. And you can fill in your information and we can set up that consultation. My team and I will be more than honored to service you to make sure that you are setting up a profitable, successful business entity. So let's get down to the meat and potatoes of today's power word. Today's power word, we are doing a series this week because I found out from the feedback that there were two subjects that really needed to go into a little more depth. One of them is constructive feedback, which is what we've been working on this week. And next week, we'll be going back over assessments because there was some in depth information that needed to be put out there. Some of you may have wanted to know, well, what type of assessment tool should I use? So we're going to go into all of that for you on next week. But today, let's go into the next part of constructive feedback. We talked about the some of the components of constructive feedback, about being specific, being positive, being observant without interference, but being able to give descriptive language in your feedback and to avoid feedback overload. We talked about how to give constructive feedback. And first, you have to establish that foundation of trust. Balance positive with negative, observe, be specific, talk face to face, don't make it personal, provide feedback consistently, and be timely with it. Again, go back to my YouTube channel, Lady Vern, and you will get the in depth detail that we discussed on that. Today, we're going to talk about some of the elements of constructive feedback from a personal perspective. Because even though you're in business, you are still working and serving with people. You are still servicing your clients and your customers. So it's critically important that you have some personal, relatable skill sets, those basic foundational skill sets, to make sure that you are producing a positive, constructive atmosphere for your business, your organization, your ministry, whatever it is that you are doing, that you are touching the lives of other people, whether that is in a collective forum or individual client customer relations. You want to make sure that you are following some of these elements of constructive feedback. Heart motive. Why are you giving constructive feedback? Are you trying to be sarcastic on the down low? Hmm, something to think about. Are you genuinely concerned about the holistic well being of another individual? We have a tendency to be very insensitive when we are moving on our own platforms and different things that we want to address and connect. And we have a tendency to self impose some of our ways of doing things, our ideals on other people without looking at and respecting individuality, uniqueness, because everybody is uniquely, marvelously, and wonderfully made. God didn't make clones. Even twins have a own unique personality, their own unique way of doing things, their own unique way of seeing things. They just have some similarities that they can connect to, but everybody is still an individual. So you want to assume good intentions, have the right heart motive for giving the constructive feedback. And there's a right way and a wrong way to do everything and anything. Even if you are having some challenges with the people that are serving among you, there's some right ways to go about it so that it doesn't, become a backlash on you from a legal perspective. So knowing labor laws for your in particular state, because they differ from state to state, that is critically important when it's talking about constructive feedback, when you're talking about entrance and exit strategies of employees or service workers, even management level. You want to make sure that you are in some type of compliance. But when you have a good heart motive, when you assume good intentions for helping an individual with the constructive feedback that you are giving them, then you are having a win win situation at that point. Another ideal is to seek to understand their point of view first. Not after you've gotten your point across, not after you've gotten what you need to pull out on them. No, be considerate. Seek to understand their point of view first. In other words, get their side of the story, because there's two sides of the story and then the truth of what actually has happened. And that is perspective. That is relevant unless there's a third party witness. And even then, hello, it's based on what they saw as well as what they witnessed. And if they weren't biased or biased in their opinion, then it's still multiple sides to a story. But sometimes it is good to have a mediator when you have exhausted every avenue that you can to give the constructive feedback with the anticipation of some type of results. So seek to understand, which means what we talked about on so many of our shows here. We have an ear and it has two functions. You have the ability to hear, but to go even in depth, you have to listen, really be attentive, really listen with the intent to understand. When you listen with the intent to understand, you hear differently, you listen differently. What you understand and what you comprehend is different, it's on a different level because you've taken the time to really listen and to seek their point of view. Because, and especially if you are serving among people who really have a heart for your business, they really have connected themselves to your vision, mission, and purpose, and they are really doing the undergirding and the servant leadership, the servant duties that you have distributed to them, and they're carrying them out to the best of their understanding. That is where it's critically important to make sure that you're hearing from their perspective, especially if they're what I call boots on the ground people. They are face to face with your customers, your clients, those that you are servicing. You want to make sure that you are hearing them and listening to them so that you are able to receive constructive feedback and then be able to give constructive feedback based upon your observant of their actions and their service to your business. Focus on the relevant data, the relevant idea, and the deliverable, the ideal or relevant deliverable of your conversation rather than on the person. In other words, talk to the person, not at the person. Make sure that the information is current, that it's relevant to the situation that you are feedbacking on. In other words, and you could take this even on a personal level in relationships. If you're talking about a situation that happened today, don't bring up everything that's happened every day for the past 5, 10, 15 years. It's like, really? Then that means you didn't resolve it when you talked about it the first time. You didn't resolve it when you talked about it the second time. If it's something that's reoccurring, then you need to sit down and have a different conversation, not so much about the incident itself. You want to get now to the underlying root of the problem because there's an underlying root to the situation why this behavior continues, and then govern yourself accordingly as an adult, that if it's turning out to be an abusive situation, and an abusive situation is on levels. So if it's something that you've been tolerating that you don't want to tolerate anymore, then handle it. And but handle it correctly, because people are going through some mental challenges today, folks. You can't just pop off on people disrespectfully. Treat one another, treat other people the way you want to be treated, and that's with some respect. Talk with a tone and a manner that is conducive for a positive outcome and a positive result. And then do what you need to do, um, from a legal perspective or from a social distance type of perspective. And then mean what you say what you mean. Be clear, be concise, be direct within a boundary of respect. So, and then you govern yourself accordingly, because some people don't take no for an answer, and they have their reasons and their justifications for that. But make sure that you're taking the precautions for you and your business, your other employees, because in this day and time, you have a lot of disgruntled employees because of how they were handled. And if they're already under stressful situations and circumstances, we try not to bring these things to our workplace, whether we're the owner or whether we're the employee, but it does happen. So you have to be sensitive. And that's what constructive feedback helps you to be. It helps you to be more sensitive to the situation, be more relatable. So be relevant with your data. Make sure that you're current with the situation at hand to resolve the situation at hand, and give the recommendations and the suggestions and the advisement to help that person, because they may understand what you're saying, but then they may not have the solution to the situation. So give them the solution to the situation, especially if it's your business, your organization, your ministry, because that reflects back on you, and you have to think of what's been given to your hand collectively, as well as trying to serve that individual person or that individual circumstance or situation. So make sure that you're giving those ideas, those suggestions, those recommendations, and make sure that it's deliverable, that it's meaning that you're delivering it where it's received and welcomed. And say, wow, I hadn't really looked at it that way. Thank you for letting me know that. When they see that you care, then they'll begin to care about what concerns you in return. And if that's not the case of the situation, then again, go through the legal ramifications, the required ramifications to make sure that you are resolving the issue. And then make sure that person is resolved, because you can tell by their body language, you can tell by their mannerisms, their behavior going forward. And then if you need to have a mediator, then do that. Your exit strategy is just as important as your interview and entrance process. Because again, you are being a good steward of the business that you have been given, the organization, the ministry you have been given, and you want to keep down as much anger and wrath is fierce anger. You want to keep those things out from your atmosphere of your business. So make sure that you engage your employees, that they want to be here, that they want to wake up every morning and come to your business because they know they're not only going to do a good job and they're not going to only enjoy the work that they're doing, but they feel that they have a sense of purpose in working or serving in your business, organization, or ministry. You want to make sure that people are as whole as you can possibly add to their lives and not just take away from their lives. And the last item that I want to talk about today in elements of constructive feedback is emphasizing useful, actionable feedback that moves that person and your business forward. Useful. Constructive feedback should be something that a person can use. When you are receiving constructive feedback, it needs to be something that you can use. And if it's not being deliverable in a useful manner, then ask, okay, I hear what you're saying. I'm listening to what you're saying, but how can I apply this to my job right now? How can I, especially if you have a disgruntled, if you're the disgruntled person and they're really trying, but they just have some challenges, it happens, then answer them. Well, how can I apply this? I really like working here for your company. I really need this job. I really want this job. Tell me, in what ways can I use this information that you just shared with me? And be patient with people. Go to Galatians, the book of Galatians in the Bible, the fifth chapter, and look up the fruit of the Spirit and the works of the flesh. And analyze yourself and say, where am I? And make the necessary adjustments. That's your personal constructive feedback that I could give you for today. And you will see a whole different atmosphere in your place of business. You want, give them action, tasks that, okay, now that you give them that feedback, now, for example, you can do this and you can do this and you can do this, and that will help you achieve this particular outcome. Be specific. Give them the actionable items. You want them to have a takeaway of action in everything that you do when you're sitting down with those that serve among you, your employees, your upper management, lower management, middle management, management, period. Because you want them on board because they're overseeing the people that are boots to the ground to your employee, to your clients and your customers. So you want to make sure that your whole strategy, your whole foundation is founded on the ability to make sure that everything is flowing smoothly. And you can do that with constructive feedback. That you're making sure that your intentions and your motives are good, that you're seeking to understand their point of view first, that you're focusing on relevant data, that right now data, that they can take action, that they can see the usefulness of it, that they can see your side of it now that you've seen their point of view first, and that they can run with it for your business. Thank you so much for joining me today on Business Strategies and Tips with Lady L, our business empowerment days of the week. Tackle it Tuesday. Take these constructive feedback items and tackle it on today. There may be somebody later on this afternoon that you may have to actually use this information. So get right on it. Make sure that you're putting some things in place. But I also want to share with you that at 10 o'clock Mondays through Friday, our Mandate Exchange Group, mandateexchangegroup.com, visit their website. But on Monday through Friday at 10 a.m., join us for our book club and social club. Our Zoom room number is 924-039-3360. And if you're an earlier riser and you got that little time before you kick in your day, hop on our Life Changing Alliances personal development call Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. Our Zoom room number there is 404-333-8430. Again, thank you so much for joining me today. Don't forget to hit my social medias, my YouTube channel, Lady Vern, LadyVerne. Follow me on Instagram, Success Beyond Strategies, that's Strategz. Go to my website at successbeyondstrategies.com. Fill out that consultation form and let's sit down and get your business going. We are entering in 48 more hours, the fourth quarter of this year. You want to make sure that you are setting up your vision, your mission, your purposes, that you are getting those documentations, whatever you need to put together to help establish your business. Sometimes there may be some funding that's going to be going out in that fourth quarter because some companies, they have to spend that money, that grant money, or those benefits that they can get, that they have to distribute so that they don't lose it on the following year. But all of that, you can fill that in on that consultation form on successbeyondstrategies.com. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I wish you well. Remember, trust your journey. Adventure is calling. Will you answer? And know that you did not wake up today to operate in mediocrity. So count your blessings and have a wonderful Tackle It Tuesday. Bye bye for now.